Hi guys, welcome back. You remember where we kicked off from last time?
Still got to find out what happened to Quixote.
Yep, so hopefully we'll find out what happened to him in this book.
Here we go. Covered in his camouflage net, Quixote sat high up in a tall beech tree, high enough to stare down through the gaps to where their house once stood. A strange man appeared by the remains of their house. Quixote watched him poke and prod through the rubble. The man disappeared from sight, and Quixote climbed higher to try and spot him again, though he could not, so he descended the tree. Argus stood amongst the small craters where the cannon shells had landed and stared at the dead bodies scattered all around. He crouched and turned one of them over. A caveman figure with messy hair and a scraggly beard stared back at him. Pock marks and scratched-in tattoos embellished his skin, and his clothing consisted of furs. One by one, Argus checked them and found nothing different until he reached the last 6 bodies. He turned one of them over and stopped, astonished. An attractive woman's ashen-white dead face stared up at him. Something deep in her death repose touched him, and a long-forgotten sadness panged him. He turned the other bodies over and discovered 2 more identical women, some smartly dressed men with short hair and clean-shaven faces. He pulled the eyelids up. A purple haze spread across the white portion of their eyes. He grabbed their hands and pulled their sleeves. Each wrist had old burn marks where the flesh had been melted and healed over, leaving folded smooth skin like wax on a table. Their parents. The cousins were not here, so either they'd escaped or had been kidnapped. Weariness hit him and his legs buckled. He sat producing a bar of chocolate and started chewing on it, and the sugar flooded his empty stomach, surging warmth into his aching legs. He surveyed the damage around him and calculated the small army had been sent here. How did they find this place? The journey by foot would take at least a week. As it was, his flight in and a subsequent parachute jump took 6 hours, and something about the dead attackers seemed familiar. Snap! Something trod behind him. Argus rolled forward and spun around, leaping to his feet, ready for action. A man, identical to the dead attackers, brandishing a meat cleaver, growled at him from 6 feet away. Quixote ran to another tree in time to hide himself, yet could not resist watching the 2 men fight. Fists, weapons and feet flew in a flurry of fury that lasted mere seconds, leaving the old man in the camouflage suit standing. He nearly called out to him, but the appearance of a second man halted him, and again he watched, expectant of another fight. The 2 men spoke, though he could not hear them, and then they quarrelled, raising their voices. The second man held Quixote's fascination. Like a character from the Middle Ages, he had a cloak draped off his shoulder, and the clothes under it appeared leather and ornate. Wanting a closer view, he dashed to a tree, and then another tree, and then to the last tree behind their burnt-out home, and shimmied up it in silence. He could only see the man's face in the camouflage suit. The caped man had his back to him. "Have you gone mad? He is dead," said the man in the cape. The man in the camouflage suit bent over and played with the dead body. Yeah. Died for your so-called lord and master. He is from the southern wasteland, a man of Ori. Death is all they are good for. Argus pointed to all the dead bodies. Yeah, cannon foggers. You do not understand. They took it 30 years ago. The words echoed around the hills. Both of the men whipped out pistols and pointed them at each other. Quixote's heart leapt into his mouth. A gunshot boom rang out across the valley, and in his excitement Quixote lost his footing and fell out of the tree. He scrambled to his feet, dazed, and spun around a few times to orient himself, catching a blurry sight of someone running across the valley toward their training playground. Quixote stumbled past the dead bodies, keen to see who fled. An object caught his eye, and he stopped in mid-motion. With caution, he scooped up the pistol and felt the heaviness of it. He had played with toy guns before, but this was real. Pistol in hand, he trotted out from under the tree's reach, his camouflage net still on his back. Before disappearing into the trees, the man Quixote pursued stopped and spun around, and Quixote dropped to the ground, covering himself. The fleeing man turned, threw his body flat to the ground. He could have sworn he had heard someone following him. He peered back through the grass, raising his head higher, and spied the fake mass of camouflage that had appeared out of nowhere. He stood up with purpose so that his pursuer could see him, and trotted into the training playground. Within seconds, Quixote scampered after him. Right. That'll do from there. As you probably worked out.
Flick off now before you.
Oh yeah, flick off now before you hear us discussing stuff.
Yeah, because you're about to start discussing.
I wasn't about to start discussing things. So if you haven't worked out by now, this young lady here is doing Lexington and Melaleuca's voice, because those are females, and Catherine, you are a female?
Yes, and I'm also doing sound effects.
And she's doing some sound effects. And I'm doing the male voices.
And narrating, basically.
And narrating. So sometimes Catherine will just sit here and gaze at me adoringly.
So let's
Maybe
just get
not.
to what happened. So we found Quixote.
Mm-hmm.
Two men had a fight. One, I guess, got killed.
Yeah.
And their parents,
Are they dead?
are they?
Are they? Well, according to the book, they are dead, but I'm the author and I wrote it and I know the truth, so I'm not going to give it away.
Come on, tell.
And Catherine, even at this stage, is only up to book 3, so she still doesn't know what's happening to the parents. I mean, they could be dead, they might not be dead. But I think we've established that Quixote is a little scamp and doesn't like the rules and does whatever he wants, which, of course, as we're going to discover, drives Lexington batty.
Poor Vixen.
Poor Lexington. Which character do you like the most?
Lexington.
Lexington. I like Quixote the most. That's it from us.
Ciao!
I'll see you in the next video.